If you are one of the almost 2 million people who subscribe to Matt's off-road recovery channel, you must have liked watching Matt and his team use their cleverly made rescue vehicles to get stuck vehicles out of trouble and go on other off-road adventures. We all loved how well they vlogged their work and how well their cars worked, but you have to admit that one of the best things about their video was the people in it. Matt surrounded himself with skilled workers like Lizzie Stout, who goes by the name Lizzy Ballard now. They did their jobs well and did everything they could to make the business succeed. Sadly, she had to leave because of something that changed her life, which many of her friends were shocked to learn. Let's look at Lizzie's sad and heartbreaking life from Matt's off-road rehab to find out what's new with her. In the past, Lizzie was just the daughter of Matt's close friend Stuart Stout and his wife Heidi. She was a big part of Matt's off-road recovery crew, working behind the scenes to handle logistics, talk to clients, and make sure the crew had everything they needed to do the job. And since Lizzie was in school, she and Matt have had a special bond that goes beyond blood ties because Lizzie's father, Stuart, is best friends with Matt. Matt always took care of her like she was his own daughter and became like an uncle to her. He was there for her all the time. Fans thought she was Matt's real daughter at one point because he was so important in her life. Fans had to see memes that showed who the father was and who the father looked up to. Lizzie's early life was mostly just being a kid and growing up, shaped by her family and the things she lived in. It was her hometown in Hurricane, Utah. Even though they came from a middle-class family, they lived in a small town where things moved more slowly. She felt a strong sense of community there from a very young age. Lizzie learned early on how important it was to work hard and go to school from her 3 sisters and 2 brothers. Her desire to learn made her very interested in everything and always wanted to know how things worked. She worked hard to get what she wanted at school and was a bum. For real, Lizzie was interested in how things in the world worked. Getting educated didn't make things easy and clear for her. She had one subject that was really hard for her. She finally got the hang of it. We already said that she works very hard. It wasn't always clear, but she started to think more about her possible job goals when she was in high school. Lizzie finally went to college and chose a school that let her explore a lot of different interests. In those early years, her path wasn't as clear, but this is where she began to focus on what would become her interest and job. Like many others, she learned as she went along, both in school and from the things that happened to her in real life. Lizzie has never been worried by getting some dirt under her nails. As a child, she liked to go the long way, climb hills, and find new tracks, especially if it meant finding the roughest paths. She finally learned about off-roading because she was interested and liked to push the limits. When her dad saw this, he told his friend Matt about how much his daughter loved it. Soon, Lizzie and Matt saw that they had a lot in common. They both loved the outdoors, but they also liked difficult tools and off-roading alike. The simple conversation between them changed into an offer to join Matt and his team in the end. Moments later, Lizzie got a call from Matt. He said, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I got in the banana and we were supposed to drive to a glamping spot or something." After that, we had to get them back on the road. Fans fell in love with her as soon as Matt introduced her. After telling them about what happened that day, he just said, "We have a new face today, this is Lizzie." She's being helpful. She has helped us before a long time ago. When she joined Matt's off-road recovery team, it was mostly guys who worked there. Off-roading and moving cars is a tough job, and being a woman in these fields makes things even harder. Lizzie had to show what she could do and earn the respect of her friends and people in the community. In her first few months on the squad, she had to push herself all the time to learn how to do the technical parts of car recovery and deal with the physical demands of the job. Since then, Lizzie has become an important part of the group. Because she was good at welding, she was a great fit, and how much she loves off-roading. Along the way, she learned a lot, from how to get around on different types of terrain to how the cars they drive work on the inside. As she got older, her excitement only grew. She started making changes to her own cars and learned everything there is to know about what makes a good off-road vehicle. It wasn't just the trip that was important to her, it was the teamwork and the shared thrill of finishing hard trails. Lizzie realized she was spending more time with people who liked the same things she did, sharing stories, tips, and plans. Going off-road is fun, but there's more to her job than that. People can learn from each other, push the limits together, and be a part of a group that shares her excitement. Because Lizzie had worked for Windor Towing Corporation since 2020, she was now a very good technician. She helped Matt with technical issues because she was a skilled mechanic. The team also turned to her for help with technical problems like towing and repairs because she was a great mechanic. She gave the team technical advice on things like maintenance, repairs, and towing. Because she can think quickly and understand difficult machines, she has saved the day more times than anyone can remember. Although Lizzie is good at technology, she does a lot more to help. As someone who is always ready to help, she has been very important in many rescue missions. Her ability to stay calm under stress and figure out how to fix things has been very important. There were times when the team had problems with their engines that seemed hard to fix. While everyone else was starting to worry, Lizzie stepped up to figure out what was going on, figure out what the problem was, and get to work. Before anyone could believe it, she turned the engine back on in just a few hours. The team was back on track. Thanks to what she's done, the team is stronger and more successful because of it. Because she liked working with others, it wasn't a surprise that her relationship with Clancy Ballard, which began like any other, ended in marriage. They met because they shared the same faith and neighborhood. Clancy was a Mormon missionary in Tennessee when they met for the first time. Lizzie finally got married to Clancy Ballard on September 30th, 2022. It was one of the best days of her life. The event took place at the Cedar City, Utah temple, which was important to both of them. Their close family and friends came to their beautiful wedding, which showed how close they were. This was the start of a new time in Lizzie's life, one that mixed her love of adventure with the safety of a committed relationship. This new relationship brought her happiness and support, especially during the tough parts of Matt's off-road rehab. Clancy, who was a Mormon missionary in Tennessee, cared about the same things Lizzie did and wanted to make the bond stronger. The fact that they lived in different places and had different responsibilities made their relationship grow. Lizzie showed a lot of drive and dedication at the time by balancing her work with her personal goals. Her marriage showed that she could follow her dreams while also taking care of her personal relationships. You have to agree that this showed she is just as good at getting through life's rough spots as she is at recovering things that got stuck off-road. A lot of her fans are still inspired by how she manages to work and be married and still do her best. But everyone was holding their breath because they knew that Lizzie would have to make decisions with her husband in mind now that she was married. That's why this fan said, she's a Mormon woman of childbearing age who just got married. It was inevitable that she would leave the show. Of course, Lizzie has been through her fair share of sad things over the years. Because of this, it was hard for her to leave the show, even though she had to do it to follow her dream of working on a ranch. Fans knew it wasn't easy for her to leave the show, because it had become like a second home to her. She had a strong desire to go back outside and do more useful work with animals, though. She was worried that she would let down her fans and co-stars. She must have shed tears as she cleaned out her trailer and said goodbye. It was especially hard for her because she had become close to Matt and saw him as a guide and a second father to her. She had also lost a lot in her personal life. She was especially sad about the death of her grandfather, who was very important to her. His death made her realize how important and short life is, and he had always told her to go after her goals. This terrible event made her decide to follow her dream of farming and to live her life to the fullest in honor of him. Because Lizzie had been a beloved figure on the show for years, she decided it was time to start a new part of her life. It has always been her dream to work on a ranch, but now she can't avoid it, especially now that she is settled down and ready to start a family. She told Moore, "I moved to a new town and got a new job there, so my time with Moore is over." She also said she couldn't wait to go back to where she came from and work with the animals and land that were there. "I like being on the show, but my heart has been telling me to do something else for a while now. You know I'm ready to do the work myself and get my boots dirty, right?" She wasn't able to watch the show, though. She kept coming back every once in a while to keep in touch with the team and the people, even though she stepped back a lot from where she normally stood. "This isn't a complete farewell," she said. "You will still see me sometimes. I just couldn't get away from this. It has been very important in my life." Matt, who was her boss, threw her a party to say goodbye. There were a lot of people who thought this would happen because she was in 250 recoveries, which is probably more than everyone except Matt. With that kind of work, it was clear that people would notice if she wasn't there. Even Matt said he was sad but happy that Lizzie was going on for good. He even got the whole team together to wish her luck in her plan. "I'm not going to work here anymore," Lizzie told her team at that point. "Sometimes, if Matt needs my help with a project or something, or if he comes to my area." Both of them were very sad to see her go. But they also knew she needed to make a change. They did say what was on their minds. "We're thrilled for her to follow her dreams, but we will miss her drive and knowledge every day they should give it to her. And if she wants to return, she will always have a place here." At the end of the show, Matt tried to have fun with the team while delivering the cake and other things. That moment, his fans could understand how he felt. One of his best team members was leaving. He could not do anything about it. A fan talked about how great Lizzie was on the show. "A few years ago was my best Lizzie moment. The group was trying to save someone and needed someone to jump into a deep ditch. Lizzie jumped right in. She didn't think twice about what looked like an 8-foot drop. She showed what a great athlete and determined person she is. It was funny how many guys said that if they had tried the same thing, their knees would have burst." Then Matt and his team left the truck and went around the corner to get Lizzie as a gift. They were going to take her car and give her this 2016 Ford F-150 EcoBoost instead. The tires on it were Patagonia XT, which are great for going on and off-road. This car should be very helpful for Lizzie because she needs to drive on dirt more on the ranch. It also showed how close Matt and his team were as a family. Lizzie used to drive a black Ford Fusion and wanted to one day drive a green Ford Raptor, so everyone knew about Lisa. Because of this, when she quit the station, they went out of their way to get her a black 12th generation Ford F-150 FX4. Someone said something about the gift. It's likely that Lizzie got Matt about 500,000 members and millions of views. Yes, the truck they gave her was nice, but she would do a lot more. Things weren't easy for her after she left Matt's off-road rehab. It wasn't easy for her to start over in a new town and in a new job. At first, it was hard for her to get used to the long hours and hard physical work on the ranch. She also missed being friends with the other people on the production team and sometimes wondered if she had made the right choice. Lizzie did, however, finally find her groove. She liked her job and found a new family in the ranch hands. It was harder to do the job by hand, but she was happier than she had been in years. Lizzie has also had her fair share of problems in her personal life. A few years ago, her beloved dog died and it broke her heart. She had been through a lot with that dog's help. Still, for Lizzie, this was the start of a fun new adventure, even though it was also the end of an age in some ways. But when she starts this new trip, her husband will be there to help her. Besides earning the confidence of her team, she also had to show the rest of the community what she could do. Many people thought that when she moved on to work on a ranch, which was her dream, that was the end of her story. They were very wrong. After starting her new job, she made an instant and lasting impression on her new team and audience by bringing a certain strength and honesty to her new place of work. Because she was determined, dedicated, and willing to take on new challenges, she was already someone that others could easily connect to and admire. She worked hard on things other than the daily tasks, and because of her own experiences, she gave her whole team a unique point of view. As a recovery expert, swing dancer, and volleyball player, she was known on the channel for the clothes she wore almost all the time. This showed that she was an important team player who would always try to do her best. People who liked her knew how great she was. They even said they hoped she would start her own station. No matter what she does, I think she will do great. Lizzie's sense of community and teamwork is what really sets Matt's off-road recovery apart from the others. This was noticed by many. One fan said, "She was the only person on the show, maybe even Ed Rudy, whose story I felt had a journey where she began differently than it ended. The reason for this is that we saw her skills and confidence really grow." For the most part, everyone else feels like they haven't changed much. They're pretty much the same person they were before they went on the show and after. But Lizzie wasn't like this at the beginning of the show. Seeing that change happen over the last few years has been really fun. Most likely she won't read this, but if you do, thank you for how you changed Moore's life and the lives of all young girls and women. For these fans, seeing Lizzie do her part in healing was a reminder to help others and deal with problems in life with the same determination she showed in rescues. For watchers, it wasn't just about saving cars from dangerous situations. The show was more important, and Lizzie was at the center of it all. She did her best to help out in any way she could, getting to know everyone on the team and making sure everything went as smoothly as possible. Now that Lizzie is away doing what she loves, Matt's off-road healing has been hard because he has had to deal with new problems. This is what a viewer said about how bad the show is now that Lizzie and some of the core cast have left. Lizzie and Ed are responsible for at least half of Matt's success, but I don't think he understands that. He seems to think that his show is watched by everyone 3 times a week. It's getting boring with all the lies. His family and friends now have copycat channels and do their own crafting projects just as often as he does. At some point, it doesn't matter how much fiction you like to watch, it all gets boring. That means everyone will get tired of Matt, Paul, Rudy, and Robbie at the same time and stop watching. It's clear that things have changed. It still has 1.77 million users, but it looks like a lot of die-hard fans are bored with it now that Lizzie isn't there to save the day.